Hi, it's Kai and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a Shop My Stash featuring pretty much all of the products that I have in my project pan for this year. I have already done the project pan intro video, so you can definitely check that out if you are interested, but I also just wanted to kind of put together a look using these products. It's very similar, I will admit, to like the everyday makeup look that I previously posted, but that's because a lot of my everyday makeup products end up being project pan products. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and let's just stop the chatter and get into it. As per usual, eyebrows are done, eyes are primed. I didn't technically prime my face because the face primer product that I have isn't really a face product this year or like an actual face primer. Though when we get into the summer, there is a like matte primer that I have that I might bring out because I'll be a little bit more oily. Starting with the eyes, of course. We know her, we maybe love her or hate her, Nude Matte Shadow from NYX in the shade Dance the Tides. I'm gonna put this all over my lid, and admittedly, this look may be similar or it's using a lot of the same products as my last look that I did on here. However, I'm gonna try to make it look a little bit different than that, though that kind of was my everyday makeup. So it makes sense that these Project Pan products have made it into my everyday makeup arrangement as well. I really hope I can finish this shadow this year because I would love to focus on some other ones, and I have other NYX shadows as well. But I also kind of want to put a palette in my Project Pan, so that might be something that after I finish this, I may go and put a palette or like a specific color from a palette rather. And then I've also put a liquid eyeshadow into my project pan. This is the Stila Cosmetics Glitter and Glow, or no, not glitter, Shimmer and Glow liquid eyeshadow in the shade Grace, which is a rose gold shade. I'm just gonna put like a little bit in the middle of my eye and blend that out. Maybe it'll be a mostly matte look today with a slight sheen. I feel like that's just so little, kind of boring, but that's what everyday makeup is. And I can already tell this one is starting to dry out, so I may be replacing it in my project pan a little bit sooner than anticipated. There was actually another color of the mini ones that I had. I think I included it in my last empties video that I had originally wanted to put in my project pan, but those were already completely dried out. So this is one of the ones that I have that are still a little bit liquid, like enough for me to use it. However, I don't think I would purchase unless I found them on sale, which I did find a lot of my Stila glitter and glows or shimmer and glows on sale at TJ Maxx's, Marshall's, things like that. I don't think I would buy these full price. I just feel like there are other cream and liquid shadows at this point that are really good that don't dry out quite as quickly. Of course, we've got the Pixie Endless Silky Eye Pen. Today I'm just putting a little bit on, and I'm gonna smudge it. Nothing too harsh, just something to make my lashes look a little bit thicker because I have some lashes that are starting to grow in gray. And the main reason that I noticed it was because I felt like my lashes were skipping or almost like I had a gap in them. And I was thinking, you know, am I pulling out my lashes? I sometimes do body focused repetitive behaviors. I think that's what they're called. I have OCD diagnosed, so that's something that can be included in that. I don't think I've ever actually talked about it on here, but part of the reason that I ended up shaving off all of my hair was because I was experiencing a lot of dryness, split ends with the no oils, no butters that was really popular. So I had split ends, but also with the OCD and body repetitive behaviors, I was feeling the split ends in my hair and I started like splitting my hair, pulling it out and stuff like that. My hair just progressively got shorter and shorter and less dense. And then eventually I was just kind of like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. This is very distressing. So I cut off my hair. And honestly, cutting off my hair has been one of the most freeing things I've ever done in my life. Same concealer as last time. And I actually kind of put the Haley's Beauty concealer into my project pan as well, since I'm already using both of these. And this is again the the Too Faced Born This Way multi-use concealer in the shade Maple, which is just a bit deep for my complexion. I honestly have so little in here that I am going to use a little spatula to kind of get some out. And then I do some of the Haley's Beauty one, which still I'm able to get some of the product out. Though I can tell I'm definitely, you know, using this one up too, because when I stir, you know, you can see the little line down here, or maybe you can't, but I can see it. I actually think I might need a little bit more of the Haley's Beauty since it's a little lighter, and my skin currently is very pale for myself. Honestly, like, look at my hand, the difference even between my hand and the rest of my arm. Crazy. Ugh, the packaging on both of these concealers just gets so messy. And again, as someone with OCD and doesn't like things touching her fingers, that is a challenge. But I definitely thought at first that I was maybe starting to pull my lashes out instead of, but since I don't have hair to pull out on my head anymore. But no, once I inspected closer, at first it was just one of them. But once I inspected closer, I noticed that I had, and I'm using the e.l.f. setting spray to wet my sponge. This isn't necessarily in my project pan, but I am trying to finish the e.l.f. setting spray because it's not my favorite setting spray in the world, if I'm being honest. But they were, in fact, just gray hairs. And then the foundation that I'm using in my project pan, I originally was going to do the ColourPop Pretty Fresh, but I decided I wanted to do this one more because it was older, and right now, since I am pale, I can make it work. This is the Milani Screen Queen Natural Finish Foundation in the shade Toasted Tawny, which obviously, again, is a little bit light. So I am also going to try to pan the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter Glow Booster, and this is in the shade 6 Tan to Deep. I don't really know what is tan to deep about this shade. This is deeper than my skin tone. For that reason, I can't really use it, at least not right now, as a foundation or even just like a highlighting glowy type of thing. So I'm using it essentially as a foundation mixer with this. They're still probably a little bit deeper than my actual complexion, but it is what it is. Onward we move. Oh, is this pump not? Okay, it's still working. It's just taken a second. That would be disappointing to want to pan a product or use a product up and then it break in the middle, which I know that happens for a lot of people. It's probably a pretty regular occurrence. Okay, I'm gonna smooth out my under eye creases, and then we're going to set with the Kosas Cloud set, which is, you know, on its last leg as well. I feel like I really just have this portion down here and then a little bit around the rim. It's not a bad powder at all, especially for underneath the eyes. I've really been liking putting it on with a powder puff like this, and then with a large powder brush I powder the rest of my face, forehead, just so that it has the same texture. This powder doesn't really have a lot of color, but I feel as though a lot of people, when they try to do no makeup on their forehead, that people are like, oh, it's definitely clockable. You can tell that there's no makeup on the forehead. I feel as though people are almost taking that literally sometimes. Like, you should still put a little bit of bronzer if you have bronzer on the rest of the face. If you have a matter base, like in your forehead is super shiny, obviously it's gonna look like noticeable. But I feel like when you do a little bit of powder on the forehead, a little bit of bronzer, this is, again, the Physicians Formula. I think this is the year that I finish this though. I think it is the year. I'm still trying to use up this Flower Beauty Blush Balm. Hopefully, again, this is the year. I feel like this is the year, especially if I stay consistent with using it. But I am, again, gonna mix it in with a little bit of the Danessa Myrix or Myrix. I don't know, I've heard it pronounced both ways, but I don't know if I've ever paid attention to Danessa saying it herself. So I feel like I need to look at a video of her saying it, even though that doesn't mean that I'm actually going to be able to replicate that with my speech. As you can tell, I always have like tongue-tiedness, constantly getting my words mixed up. That's probably the ADHD. But this is the Color Fix Matte in the shade Rustic, which I think might have been discontinued, but it also could have just been renamed or rebranded. I haven't seen the newer shades. I just don't remember seeing that shade in particular when I saw them relaunch. And oh, maybe I wanted to go with something a little bit more pinky purple. So I'm actually gonna mix a little bit of the blush balm in the shade Bitter. I didn't really think about what my eyes were looking like. And I think that's part of the reason that I want to finish. That's just gonna have to be good enough for today. The blush balm, because it's just not within the color scheme of what I really like to wear. Like, I don't feel like I even wear orangey blush all that much. And look at how much it ends up making every single time I mix it. I feel like I'm wasting so much. Highlight is still the ColourPop Super Shock Cheek, though if this does start crumbling again, I probably will just call it because it was already a lot. I scooped out what was around the edges and tried to smooth out in the middle. And as you can see, that was not as easy as a task as I thought it would be. And then I actually think I want to add a little bit more bronzer since I maybe went a little bit overboard on the blush. Faux freckles aren't necessarily in my, at least I don't think I put any, yeah, I didn't put a faux freckle product into my project pan, mostly because I use them pretty frequently, though I do think once I finish this, instead of repurchasing another one, I'm going to try to finish the other ones I have, which are the Pseudo Labs freckles. I have 2 shades of those. One of the shades I don't really like, so I'll have to determine whether I dislike it enough to declutter it. But I also want to wait until the summertime when my skin gets a little more tan and see if maybe that's a shade I can make work when I'm a little deeper. Mascara is also something that is not in my project pan because at this point I've pretty much, oh, I forgot my other setting spray, which I'm going to use Charlotte Tilbury for this. And then I can do mascara. But again, mascara is a category of makeup where at this point I pretty much just have one regular mascara, though I may have one backup just because I got things sent in a giveaway. So I might have an extra mascara somewhere, but I generally just buy one, a different one that I want to try every time. Or I go back to the Essence Lash Princess, which is the one that I currently have a waterproof formula of, but I have one regular formula. This is the e.l.f. Lash Extender, if I didn't mention that. Everything's always in the description box because I am a stickler about putting the products that I use and, you know, all of that in the description box, even if I forget to say it out loud. But I have one regular mascara and then one waterproof one. I don't feel like you really need to have more than one because mascaras are the quickest expiring thing in your collection. And also I feel like mascara is one of those things, as well as with most eye products, but mascara and eyeliner are probably the 2 products that you should be more careful with the expiration dates with, just because the eye area is so sensitive and you can have like bacteria and stuff from, you know, using it repeatedly. So that is something where I try to be a little bit more diligent about how many mascaras, especially, and eyeliners that are, you know, in my collection and being used. For lips, I did want to put a lip liner in because I have quite a few lip liners, and this one in particular is a duplicate. I don't necessarily have the exact theme this year of trying to get rid of duplicate products, but that's also something that was in the back of my mind when I was choosing the extra products to put in my project pan this year. So I have another one of the Persona 90210 lip balm, or not lip balms, lip liners. So I figured I can probably stand to finish one of them up. I used to really, really like this lip liner, and I still do. It's still really nice and creamy, and it's kind of like a brick shade, but I just feel as though the older that I get, like, this doesn't necessarily look like a lip line. I just think I like a little bit of a different makeup look, and this isn't quite as deep as I would like. If it were a bit deeper and maybe had more of a plummy tone to it, because on me especially, I feel like you can tell on my lower lip, it ends up pulling so warm, and I don't know if it was always like that and I just ignored it or maybe even liked that in my makeup, but it's not something that I love, you know, current day. And then I do still have the Buxom Powerful Plump, you know, lip balm until it's done. It's almost done. It's, again, just this little end of it. It comes out that, you know, punchy pink that every one of these pH changing lip balms turn into. But I also added a gloss into my project pan as well. I decided to do the Persona Cosmetics gloss in Toffee because I went on their website and saw that they don't sell their glosses anymore. I really liked these. This was a fantastic formula of gloss. It's really slick, just adds a hint of color, gives nice shine, but it's not like overly glossy, you know what I'm saying? It's just really nice, and it wears nicely on the lips too. I'm hoping that maybe they just discontinued them for a reformulation or to relaunch them or something like that. I know they have their, you know, day mask peptide lip balms and they release more of these. I do like these as well, but I don't feel like it necessarily replaces the lip glosses, because some of these, like this one even has a light shimmer in it, but it's not something that's glittery, whereas these are just like a tinted lip mask situation. Anyway, this is the face. That is the Project Pan Shop My Stash for at least right now. I will let you know when products change. If they change, we're going to do a lot of updates, and hopefully this year we will just have in general more updates, more things to finish, which I think especially in the early part of this year we will. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. I hope you're staying safe and healthy wherever you are when you're watching this, and I will talk to you guys in the next one.